My name is Peter Whitmore. I'm 76 years old. Some of you may remember me from a video I shared a few weeks ago. I didn't expect such a strong response, and I want to thank you for listening. Today, though, I need to talk about something I didn't mention back then. Something more personal. Something that quietly changed the way I see love, marriage, and time. I hope you'll stay with me for a few minutes because what I'm about to share might save you from a kind of regret that can stay with you for decades. My wife Susan and I were married for 41 years. For most of that time, I believed we had a good marriage. Not perfect, but stable, comfortable. The kind of marriage people admire from the outside. But here's the truth no one really prepares you for. You can spend a lifetime with someone and still slowly grow apart without even noticing it happening. For a long time, I thought that was normal. Long marriages, I told myself, are supposed to feel quiet, predictable. You stop talking for hours and start talking about schedules, bills, and what's for dinner. Susan would sometimes suggest small things. Taking a class together, going for evening walks, staying up late just to talk like we used to. And almost every time I had a reason ready. I was tired, busy, tomorrow would be better. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I honestly believed we had time. I thought love was proven by staying, by providing, by not walking away. What I didn't realize back then was that love doesn't disappear all at once. It fades slowly in the moments you keep postponing. Over time, those small postponements added up. One "not tonight" became many. One "maybe later" slowly turned into never. Susan stopped asking. She found her own routines, her own friends, her own quiet ways to fill the space between us. We lived in the same house, slept in the same bed, but something important was missing. We were comfortable, polite, and deeply disconnected. I told myself this was just how long marriages worked. That passion fades. That routine replaces excitement. I didn't understand then that comfort can quietly turn into indifference. And indifference, more than anger or betrayal, is what slowly breaks a relationship apart. If this sounds familiar to you, leave a comment with the number 6. Sometimes admitting it is the first step toward changing it. Everything changed when Susan got sick. What had always felt like someday suddenly had a deadline. In those final months, we talked more honestly than we had in years. She shared dreams she had quietly let go of and hurts she never felt comfortable speaking out loud. I realized how often I had been physically present but emotionally absent. One night, she told me about a trip she had always wanted to take to Scotland, where her grandmother was from. She had mentioned it many times over the years, and each time I had brushed it aside. Too expensive, not the right time, maybe later. Now, there was no later. She didn't sound angry when she spoke, just tired, resigned, and in that moment I understood that silence can hurt just as deeply as words. I asked her why she never pushed harder, why she didn't insist. She looked at me and said something I will never forget. She didn't want me to go out of obligation. She wanted me to want it too. She wanted to feel chosen, not accommodated. That sentence broke something open inside me. I realized how many times I had said yes with my presence, but no with my heart. I had been there without truly showing up. She wasn't asking for grand gestures or expensive trips. She was asking for shared excitement, for curiosity, for the feeling that what mattered to her mattered to me. And by the time I finally understood that, time had already taken the choice away from us. After Susan passed away, I spent a lot of time alone, replaying moments I once thought were insignificant. I began to understand something painful but important. Relationships don't fall apart because of one big mistake. They wear down through small neglects, through unanswered questions, through choosing comfort over connection. The greatest threat isn't cheating or constant fighting. It's indifference. It's assuming your partner will always be there, always waiting, always understanding. I made that assumption for years, and it cost me more than I can ever explain. If you've ever caught yourself postponing conversations, dismissing small moments, or choosing later too often, leave a comment below and tell me what number you're on today. Awareness is where change begins. Not long after Susan died, I found her journal tucked away in the nightstand. She had been writing in it for years. Reading those pages felt like meeting a version of my wife I had lived beside but never truly known. She wrote about loneliness, about feeling invisible even when I was sitting right next to her. She wrote about moments when I chose work, my phone, or silence instead of her. What hurt the most was realizing none of it came from cruelty. It came from complacency. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I just stopped trying altogether. I believed that being present was enough, without understanding that presence without attention is another form of absence. And by the time I finally saw it, she was already gone. That's why I'm telling you this now. Not to make you feel guilty, but to wake you up while you still have time. If you're sharing your life with someone, don't assume they'll always be there. One of you will leave first. That's the truth we avoid until it's too late. Ask yourself when the last real conversation happened, the kind that isn't about schedules or responsibilities. When was the last time you did something simply because it mattered to them? When was the last time you looked at your partner and felt grateful they were still beside you? If you can't remember, you're standing exactly where I once stood. And I wouldn't wish that realization on anyone. On my desk, I keep an old photograph of Susan from our honeymoon in 1972. She's laughing, squinting into the sun, her hair caught in the wind, full of hope and plans for a future we believed we had endless time to live. I look at that photo often and think about how that woman slowly became quieter over the years. Not because she loved less, but because she learned to expect less from me. I think about how little it would have cost me to say yes to the trip, to the classes, to the conversation she kept reaching for. A little time, a little effort, things I always thought I could give later, but later never came. And now, all I have left are photographs and questions that no longer have answers. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Love isn't proven by how long you stay, but by how intentionally you show up. It's not enough to avoid doing wrong. You have to choose again and again to do what brings you closer. Relationships don't survive on autopilot. They survive on curiosity, effort, and the courage to care about what matters to the person beside you. If someone you love is still in your life, don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't assume there will always be more time. Start now. Ask. Listen. Say yes more often. If this story meant something to you, please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more real stories like this. And if you have a lesson life has taught you, share it below. Your story might help someone else before it's too late.